distinguished members of the Security Council, let me please begin by reminding all of us on a historic moment. On March 24, 1999, NATO intervened under the leadership of the United States of America to stop a genocide in Europe. After all diplomatic efforts had failed to stop a mass murderer and war criminal, the civilized world took decisive action. This intervention was not only legitimate, it was existential. It represented the protection of the core values of the United Nations and humanity itself, halting a genocide already in motion, saving countless lives, and standing firmly against mass atrocity crimes. It ended Serbia's genocide and mass killings. From the devastation caused by Serbia's aggression and from the sorrow of its genocidal campaign, the people of Kosovo rose up and emerged stronger. Today, 26 years later, Kosovo is a sovereign, independent state with rule of law and aligned with the free world. Kosovo is firmly anchored in the West while maintaining strong ties with all our international partners. The Republic of Kosovo is a true example of how international intervention against genocide, with sustained international support, has enabled the establishment and flourishing of a full European and Western democracy. Despite strong opposition from Serbia and Russia and their allies, Kosovo has become a full-fledged democracy and a respected international partner. Let me echo the words expressed in the Council of Europe during Kosovo's membership process. Dora Bakoyannis, rapporteur for Kosovo's accession, stated, I quote, "Kosovo is a functional democracy that respects human rights and the rights of its communities. 82% of the members of PACE, more than required, favored the membership of Kosovo in the Council of Europe. And in fact, yes, we are a democratic country, and we are proud of it. In the light of our painful past, we have built institutions that reflect democratic values, rule of law, and human rights. Kosovo today is a vibrant democracy, young, resilient, and oriented towards Euro-Atlantic integration. But Serbia has not changed very much. It continues trying to destabilize our democracy. Worse, it does so not only through rhetoric, but through concrete, violent actions that endanger regional peace and security. Mr. President, on 24th of September 2023, the Republic of Kosovo was the target of an armed incursion by a Serbia-based and Serbia-backed paramilitary group, led by Milan Radojcic, a man publicly known to be linked to Serbia's political leadership, including the current foreign minister, Mr. Đurić, and President Vučić himself. Publicly available photographs of Mr. Đurić sitting with Radojcic in a Belgrade cafe underscore this network. This was an act of open aggression against a neighboring country carried out by a military group with military training, equipment, and logistics from Serbia. According to the UN General Assembly's Resolution 3314, this constitutes aggression. Calling it a serious security incident, as the Unmik report does, is not only a mischaracterization, it is a distortion. The facts are plain. Serbia sponsored, armed, trained, and politically supported this group, which killed the Kosovo police officer Afrim Bunjaku and attempted to occupy territory within our sovereign borders. These tactics, reminiscent of Russia's hybrid aggression and the use of unmarked paramilitary units in Crimea, have no place in Europe. This was not just terrorism. It is an act of war. Excellencies, on November 29th, 2024, the Iber-Lepens Canal in the Republic of Kosovo was deliberately targeted with explosives in a kinetic, military-grade attack against critical civilian infrastructure. This act put at risk the water supply, electricity, internet connectivity, and heating for hundreds of thousands of people, including private households, but also schools, hospitals, and other essential public services across multiple municipalities. The objective was unmistakable: designed to terrorize our population, disrupt daily life, and cause widespread harm. Following the attack, the Republic of Kosovo officially requested international cooperation to investigate the incident. While Serbian President Vučić publicly pretended that Serbia would investigate and cooperate as well, in fact, Vučić refused to even respond to the many requests made by European and international institutions to live up to his promise. His refusal not only undermines the investigation itself, but moreover signals his continued and dangerous attitude to protect murderers and terrorists. We request from Serbia to fully cooperate with international investigations and also to hand over Milan Radojčić and other criminals to the authorities of the Republic of Kosovo. Continued impunity only emboldens future acts of aggression. Mr. President, let me be clear about the status of Unmik. Unmik is losing credibility as a source and as a UN agency every day. Its behavior and its actions are hindering observers and the UN to get a realistic picture of the developments in the country. To be clear, Unmik is not hindering or hurting Kosovo in its development anymore. It is hurting the credibility of the United Nations. Our concerns regarding Unmik continued presence must not be misunderstood, because Kosovo continues to work closely with numerous UN agencies, such as UNDP, UNICEF, UN Women, and others, that are partners in our development. However, Unmik no longer serves a purpose that justifies its continued presence. While other international organizations, such as OSCE, the Council of Europe, and the European Union, consistently provide assessments of the development in Kosovo, Unmik keeps misrepresenting facts and by that misleads this Council as well. This is also evident in how the report framed Kosovo's legitimate efforts to enforce the rule of law and combat organized crime. Kosovo has achieved significant success in dismantling illegal criminal structures that have long established a space of lawlessness in the 4 northern municipalities. As part of these efforts, 13 drug labs supported by the Serbian state, producing drugs for millions of young victims across Europe, worth hundreds of millions of euros, were dismantled. Weapon depots and other equipment linked to terrorist activities were discovered and destroyed. These actions enforce the law and protect our citizens. Yet, Unmik's report echoes Serbian propaganda and portrays these actions as destabilizing, misleading about their causes, their purpose, and their importance for peace. A similar misinterpretation is Unmik's view of trials in absentia, particularly in cases involving suspects of war crimes. These trials are not a matter of choice, but a necessity since Serbia systematically protects war criminals. In one recent case, the court in Brussels, not in Kosovo, in Brussels, convicted 3 individuals for plotting and executing the assassination of a Kosovar journalist in Belgium, Serbia still refuses to extradite them. The same applies to war crime suspects tried in Kosovo. In the Rezal massacre case, 3 individuals were convicted in absentia for the killing of 98 civilians. Trials in absentia remain the only legal option to ensure justice and counter impunity. Excellencies, we call upon Unmik to finally address the reality on the ground without misleading ambiguity. Bańska was an act of paramilitary aggression by a state against another state. Iberlepens was a kinetic, military-grade attack by a state against another state's critical infrastructure. Serbia's current regime continues to undermine peace, not only in Kosovo, but throughout the region. And it is cracking down on millions of its own citizens in Serbia who want to break free from the regime that has suppressed them for many years. Language matters, dear ladies and gentlemen. How we describe these acts will determine whether deterrence prevails over impunity, whether aggression is emboldened or pushed back. Kosovo remains committed to peace and cooperation. However, peace has never been preserved by tolerating aggression. It has always been preserved by confronting it head-on. As Kosovo keeps upholding democracy and the rule of law with overwhelming public and international support, Serbia is heading in the opposite direction. In recent months, once again, literally millions of citizens in Serbia, not in Kosovo, in Serbia, led by students, vastly supported by teachers, workers, and others, keep protesting against the corruption, repression, and autocratic regime of President Vučić. While Vučić's minions, like Mr. Đurić and Deputy Prime Minister Vulin and others, take turns visiting Moscow, reinforcing Serbia's alignment with authoritarian powers, the country's internal crisis and tension is deepening. Serbia is now under increasing scrutiny in the Council of Europe, is called before the European Court of Human Rights, and will face a mounting crisis as long as the Vučić regime keeps rejecting the legitimate requests from democratic forces in Serbia and from its democratic neighbors in the region. At the same time, Kosovo keeps moving forward, politically, economically, as a free, peaceful, young, and optimistic society. We keep strengthening our institutions, enforcing the law, and fighting corruption and criminal networks. We also strengthen our security. Just recently, through a trilateral security and defense agreement with 2 NATO members, Albania and Croatia, we all know what the root cause for tension in the region is. Serbia exports instability, while Kosovo and its partners export security, partnership, and cooperation. And while Serbia refuses to align with Europe on the greatest test of our time, Kosovo stands firmly with its partners in defending Ukraine. We will not waver in our commitment to the victory of Ukraine against the Russian aggression, in defending their democracy and thereby defending European freedom against an imperial, barbaric, and ruthless Russian leadership under Putin. Mr. President, in closing, we call upon the Security Council and the international community to take clear and decisive action in response to Serbia's ongoing aggressive action in the region, including against Kosovo. Kosovo will continue its cooperation with international partners to maintain stability in the region. Kosovo will continue to ensure that those responsible for violence and terror are held accountable. However, no one can turn a blind eye on Serbia's relentless efforts to destabilize the region. While Kosovo is making significant progress on our path to full integration into NATO and European Union, and in the future also finally the United Nations, we are building lasting bridges with all nations. It is time for the international community to recognize the reality that the Republic of Kosovo, as an independent state, is making its way into all of the international frameworks, step by step, success after success. Now, we as sovereign and peace-loving nations need to come together and take the necessary steps to counter the ongoing threats and to secure enduring peace and stability in the Balkans.